I'm your hostess, Cindy Schumacher. On today's show, we're going to be making Alabama chicken, spinach salad with berries and a honey balsamic vinaigrette, monkey bread, and gooey butter cookies. So we're going to start with the bread because it's going to take 2 risings. So in a large bowl, we're going to add a packet of yeast. I buy my yeast in jars, so I need 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast and a 1/2 cup of warm water. We're going to get that dissolving a little bit here. Okay, then over on the stove, I'm going to melt a 1/2 cup of butter, and to that, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar. Now this monkey bread isn't a real sweet monkey bread. It's actually a casserole bread, or it's a pull apart that you would eat with a meal. So although it is a little bit sweet, it's not the gooey, caramely monkey bread that you normally think of when you hear monkey bread. And we're going to add a 1/2 cup of evaporated milk. And we'll get that melting. We're going to add salt, and I lost mine. There they are. A teaspoon of salt. Okay, while we're waiting for that to melt, we can assemble the salad because that's pretty simple. With the exception of the walnuts, we're going to candy some walnuts today for the salad. You can also use candied pecans if you like, but we're going to do walnuts. They say walnuts are better for you than the pecans. So I thought, well, we'll do something kind of healthy here. And the Alabama chicken is actually a casserole. It's a nice casserole that you can make up in advance. I make it up in advance and stick it in my refrigerator, and when I want to bake it, it's ready to go. I've even divided it by 2 because it makes a 9 by 13 if you're, alone, or you have a small family or just a few people eating. You can divide it into 2 like 8 by 8 pans, and so it works out real well for that. So you have 2 meals. You can freeze one, or however you want to do that. Let's see how this is going. I think we'll take a little break because we want to get the bread going first, since it's going to need to rise. We're going to take a break while we start getting this melted, and we can start stirring up the dough. We'll be right back.
Blazing fast broadband internet from Valley is now available and better than ever. Let us help you decide which speed is best for you. The 50 meg speed would be sufficient for 1 to 4 devices, mainly emailing and surfing the web. Our 100 meg speed works great for 5 to 8 devices and multiple users streaming and downloading video. If you have 8 devices or more that are simultaneously streaming or gaming, or if you have a medium-sized business, the 250 meg speed would work best for you. For extreme heavy home or work from home use, or if you have a medium to large business using 15 or more devices, you may want to consider our 500 meg download speed to fit your needs. And if you're a home or business that needs it all, we have our 1000 meg 1 gig broadband internet speed. Call our office today at 437-2615 and talk with one of our staff members to pick the speed that's best for you.
Okay, I have it melted, and I watched it real close, so I'm not going to have to really wait for it to cool because it didn't get real hot. So We're going to add that to the yeast mixture. Okay, I'm going to stir in 3½ cups of all-purpose flour. This makes the nicest dough. It's nice and it gets real smooth and elastic right away. It's sometimes when you're working with dough, it's kind of almost coarse or something. I don't know what the word is, but this makes such a nice dough. We'll just start using our hands and get it all mixed in. I'm just going to turn it out on the counter here so I can really work with it. And it doesn't take long, you just knead it until it's smooth and elastic. I don't think I've ever had a recipe where I don't have to keep adding flour to it to keep it from being sticky. There's just something about this dough that isn't sticky, which is surprising because it does have that sugar in it, but it's just nice. Okay, I'm just going to grease this bowl and we'll let it sit. Turn it over so that all sides have been greased. And I cover it loosely with plastic wrap and a soft towel. Then we'll just set it aside. And we're going to start working on the casserole. I have a ½ cup of butter in a frying pan. And we'll get that melting. And then to that we're going to add a cup of green pepper, a cup of celery, and a cup of onions all chopped finely. And wait till it melts up just a little bit. I want to tell you though, while we're waiting for that butter to melt, if you want a copy of any of these recipes, if you don't have internet, give the girls at Valley a call. They'll be happy to get you a copy of the recipe. If you do have internet, go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytel.net, and you'll find the Country Cookin' Cow, and that's where you'll find all the recipes. So. This is one of those casseroles that you can make up ahead of time, a day in advance, if you're working all day long or something, and you know, you have it in your refrigerator ready to throw in the oven. By the time you get home, throw it in the oven, change your clothes, set the table, and it's about ready because it only really takes about a ½ an hour to bake. So I'll get that going. We're going to add the feta cheese to the salad too. I had forgotten to get that out. So actually it would make a nice salad for the 4th of July. I just noticed with the red, white, and blue. And as soon as we're done using that frying pan, we'll use it to start candying the walnuts too. So I'm going to take a quick break and clean up. We'll be right back. Okay, we've let the dough double in size, so we're going to roll it out, and I'm going to roll it out into about a 12 by 18 inch rectangle. Slip it up onto my cutting board here. And then you want to cut it into either diamonds or squares, about 3 inches. I guess you could use a pizza cutter too if you want to do something like that. I've melted a half of a cup of butter, and just get this out of the way here. Then dip each piece in the butter and lay it in the pan, and you want to kind of layer these. So I'm going to do a bottom layer, and then I'll start layering them on top. Now we're going to cover that again, and then we want that to double in size one more time. So we'll just set it aside while we're working on everything else. Okay, and we'll go ahead and assemble the casserole. This is the celery, onions, and pepper. To this, we're going to add a cup of stuffed olives, a half cup of ripe black olives that are sliced, an 8-ounce can of mushrooms. If you want to use fresh mushrooms, that's fine. You would use a half pound. This is a half pound of Velveeta, some kind of processed cheese. You cut it into cubes and get that distributed. And then 2 pounds of cooked and cubed chicken breast. And what I did was I cooked this last night to save us some time today. I reserved the water, and then I reserved the broth from the chicken breast, and I boiled the noodles. So this is 4.5 cups of egg noodles. You can use really any kind of noodles you want. I've used penny pasta in the past. You know, whatever you prefer, but I used a kind of a medium egg noodle. And then we've got a can of cream of mushroom soup. This will bake in the oven for about 45 minutes at 300. If you wanted to cook a little faster, you could get by with baking it for a half an hour at 350. You want to stir it well so that that soup coats everything. And then the butter from the vegetables too will help kind of blend all the flavors together. I have buttered a 9 by 13 pan. This would be a good casserole too to take to a potluck because it looks pretty because it's got all the colors, and it's a delicious casserole as far as casseroles go. Okay, we're going to just set this aside and we're going to bake it at the same time as the bread so that we everything comes out at the same time. So we'll set it aside, and then I'm going to take a quick break and clean up, and we're going to candy the walnuts. We'll be right back.
Valley is now offering updated digital TV packages and prices. Ask us about the brand new Choice TV package. Call Valley today at 437-2615.
Okay, we're going to candy the walnuts. Get my burner going. I have a tablespoon of butter in the pan. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. And we will get this dissolving. As soon as the sugar starts to dissolve, we're going to add the walnuts. I'm going to give that a minute, and we're going to skip gears over here, and we'll start working on the dressing so we can get that chilling. We need a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar. Two tablespoons of honey. And then we're going to slowly pour in a 1/2 cup of olive oil. Rinse this out. I'm gonna turn it on stir, so it's going pretty slow, and then we'll drizzle this in. Remove your little cap here. Then I always kind of give it a little bit of a boost. I'm going to pour it back in the measuring cup, and then this needs to be seasoned with salt and pepper to taste, but you always want to be careful with that because you don't want it to get too salty. The spatula to work. Oh, check my sugar here. I'm going to add the walnuts. It looks like it's dissolved here. You want to do this at about medium heat on that. I'm going to start with about a half teaspoon. Actually, let's start with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we'll do a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. We're going to check it out and see how that goes. I'm going to add just a little more salt. About a 1/4 of a teaspoon here. And then I'll put it in the refrigerator to chill. We've got a 1/2 cup of green onions to top off the salad, and that's ready to go, except for the walnuts and the dressing. This is what it looks like. The sugar's caramelizing. For those of you that make Hochzeit schnapps, you're kind of doing the same thing. You're caramelizing the sugar. And at this point, you pretty much want to stir it constantly for about 4 to 5 minutes. So while I'm finishing this up, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. We've got the walnuts done. I'm going to spread them out on parchment paper. Okay. Now you want to take a couple of spatulas and separate them. Although they're good enough to eat in a clump, that's not so good when you're using them in a salad. If you're going to use them for a snack, you can have clusters, but You want to do this while they're still warm because otherwise you won't be able to break them up. Use my hands, be brave. Kind of reminds me of when you used to make popcorn balls when you were little and you'd have to grease your hands up and work fast. It's kind of the same thing. That was always extra fun when you could help Mom make popcorn balls for Christmas. Okay, we're going to set those aside and let them cool, and as soon as they're cool we can toss them in the salad. You don't have to use the whole thing if you don't want, you know. But we're going to get started on the gooey butter cookies. This is kind of a takeoff of, I don't know if you remember back when we made the gooey butter cake. This is gooey butter cookies. It's also a St. Louis kind of a traditional recipe. So we're going to cream, I have a half cup of softened butter. We've got a 8-ounce cream cheese. Get a spatula here and get the rest of this. 1 egg and 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm using pure vanilla extract. You can use the white or the clear vanilla if you want. As soon as that's all incorporated, then we're going to add 1 yellow cake mix with butter. This is the butter recipe, yellow. These cookies are light and fluffy and airy. They're just delicious. And even then, you know, days later, they're still nice and fluffy. They don't dry out. So I think you'll enjoy them, taking them to, you know, church or a potluck or something like that, because it's not a cookie that you see around here very often. So it's kind of fun to have something a little different that not everybody makes. Now this dough needs to be chilled just so that it sets up a little bit. So we're going to throw it in the refrigerator, chill it for about a half an hour. Okay, I think we'll take a quick break while I clean up. We'll be right back and we'll start doing our baking.
Internet is here. Valley now has higher broadband speeds of up to 1 gigabit. Get the bandwidth you need for all your devices at one time. Gaming with no lag time. Video stream your favorite movies instantly in HD quality. Video chat with friends and family without interruption. Download your favorite music and photos in seconds. All on our 100% fiber optics network. Valley offers managed Wi-Fi and backup services too, bringing together all the services you need. Valley Telecommunications Cooperative.
Okay, we're going to start rolling out the cookies. You take about a teaspoon, about like this, and drop it into the powdered sugar. I have just a you know, a little bowl of powdered sugar. Just kind of roll it into the powdered sugar, and then we roll it into a ball, and then you put it on your cookie sheet. I have sprayed these with cooking spray. So I've added the walnuts to the salad. We've got the casserole in, and the monkey bread is baking. So as soon as the cookies are done, everything should be about ready to eat. Now, I want to remind you again, if you want a copy of any of these recipes, if you don't have internet, give the girls at Valley a call. They'll be happy to help you. If you do have internet, just go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytal.net. Look for the Country Cookin' Cow on the right. Click on that. You'll find all the recipes from all the shows. So we'll take a quick break while I roll these out. You probably don't want to watch me roll out 30 or 40 cookies, so we'll be right back. All right, we've got a tray of the cookies done. They're nice and fluffy. I'm going to leave them sit in the pan for just a minute or so. And the bread is also done. So I'm going to pull that out. We'll let that sit in the pan for just a minute, and then we're going to turn it over on a cookie sheet. So we'll get the rest of the cookies going. Okay, we're just about done with everything, so we'll be right back. Okay, we're gonna flip the monkey bread over. Now, like I tell you before, if you're not going to be using the whole salad all at one time, serve the dressing on the side, then it doesn't get soggy and waste the whole thing. So to just kind of help us get started here. And this has a lot of butter on it, so you probably don't even need to serve butter on the side, but you can always offer it if somebody wants to take it. So there we've got it. We have our Alabama chicken, our spinach salad with berries and honey balsamic vinegar, our monkey bread, and gooey butter cookies. Thanks for joining us today on this edition of Country Cookin'. We hope to see you next time.